Okay, so you ever get that feeling like you're constantly trying to make everything fit just right? Like in your family, at work, even with friends.
Yeah.
You just like want things to happen the way you think they should.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you're in this never-ending mental tug-of-war trying to get everyone and everything to line up perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting, right? Like
Yeah,
you're constantly pulling on this rope, but someone else has the other end.
totally. I think it's something so many of us experience, and it's crazy how much energy it takes. We're putting so much effort into these little battles for control, and like, are we even aware of it?
That's such a good point. We're going to unravel that knot today, right here. We've been diving deep into this book, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And honestly, it's not what you might expect. It's not some dense theory. It's super practical, like a cheat sheet for a happier life and better relationships.
It definitely cuts to the chase, which is awesome,
Yeah.
especially for anyone who wants to learn useful stuff without getting lost in the weeds.
Right. This could be a real game changer for you. The main idea is shifting our focus. Instead of trying to control everyone else, which, let's be real, is mission impossible, we focus on what we can control ourselves.
That's the core of it. It's about that power shift, putting the energy back where it actually matters.
Absolutely. It boils down to two deceptively simple phrases: let them and let me.
Two little phrases with a surprising amount of power packed into them.
Totally. And like, how do those two things work together? That's what we're going to unpack today, our mission,
Yeah.
to give you the practical tools from this book so you can start using them in your own life right now.
Love that. Let's equip you with the stuff that actually makes a difference.
Exactly. We're going to see how these simple phrases can make a big difference in all sorts of situations,
Yeah.
from everyday stress to like career stuff, family dynamics, even finding love. It's a whole toolkit.
Information is only good if you can actually use it right. So let's dive into the how-tos. Let's start with let them. Where does that come in?
So the author starts with this super relatable story about her son's prom. Think back to your own prom, or maybe you help someone get ready for theirs, right? All the details, the pressure. She's in the thick of it, wanting everything to be perfect for her son and his date. The flowers, dinner reservations, the whole 9 yards.
It's like peak parent mode, right? Wanting to smooth the path and make sure your kid has a good time and protect them from, potential prom night disasters.
Totally. But then her son politely says no to the corsage she picked out.
Hmm.
And then get this, she finds out that his group of 20 teenagers,
Hmm.
no dinner reservations,
Mm-hmm.
on a rainy night.
Oh, no, I can already feel the parental panic setting in.
Right, her first instinct was like, I gotta fix this, take charge.
It's like autopilot for most of us, that urge to jump in and manage everything, especially when it involves people we care about.
Big time. But here's the thing, and this is where it clicked for her. She couldn't control whether his date wanted a corsage or force a bunch of teenagers to make dinner plans.
The classic struggle of trying to control the uncontrollable. We've all been there.
For sure. But what she could control was her own reaction to the situation. And that's where let them comes in.
It's like surrendering to the reality that you can't control other people's choices, no matter how much you want to.
Totally. And it's about recognizing how much energy we waste trying to control what other people say, think, and do.
Right.
We give away our power, our emotional well-being, without even realizing it.
I love how she describes this power dynamic in relationships as a seesaw. It's such a good visual.
Ooh, tell me more about the seesaw thing.
So imagine you have this strong negative reaction to something someone does. You get upset, frustrated, whatever. What's happening is you're giving them power over you. Like your emotional state depends on their actions. And suddenly you're down on that seesaw feeling powerless.
Wow, that's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It's like you're letting their behavior control your entire emotional weather system.
Exactly. But by saying let them, and it's a conscious choice, right?
Yeah.
You're letting go of that need to control their actions or your reaction to them. And as you do that, you shift the balance back. You come back up on the seesaw, and their negativity loses its power over you.
You're not getting dragged down by it anymore.
Right. It's incredibly freeing.
So let them is about releasing that grip on trying to control others.
Yeah.
But then comes the flip side. Right. Let me. This isn't just about giving up and letting everyone else call the shots. It's about reclaiming your own power. Right.
100%. Let me is the proactive part. The book uses this example where the author feels left out of a girl's weekend. She sees pictures online and feels that pang of exclusion. We've all been there, right?
Ugh, yeah, that little sting of not being included is the worst.
Right. Her initial reaction could have been, what did I do wrong? Or why wasn't I invited? But by saying let them, she acknowledges that her friends can plan their own trip trips, invite whoever they want. It creates space for her to turn inward and ask, okay, what do I want? That's where let me comes in.
So by letting go of trying to control the situation, it allows for self-reflection.
Totally. And in this case, she realizes she's been so busy with work that she hasn't been nurturing her friendships. She hasn't been reaching out, making plans, being proactive.
Oh, I feel that.
Right. So her let me becomes about taking ownership of her social life, reaching out to friends, being more intentional about those connections. It's about going from feeling like a victim of exclusion to actively creating the kind of relationships she wants.
So let me is about asking yourself, what can I do? What do I want?
Absolutely. And like the book connects this back to fear. That underlying urge to control often comes from a place of fear. Fear of being excluded, fear of not being liked, fear of things falling apart if we're not in control.
We try to control everything because we're afraid of what might happen if we don't. Makes sense.
Exactly. And let them and let me together give you a way to address those fears by focusing on the one thing you can control yourself.
Okay, so we have the foundation. Now, how can we apply let them to something we all deal with? Stress. It's crazy how tiny things can set us off, right? Like traffic, slow internet, getting interrupted.
It's wild, isn't it? We let these little inconveniences totally derail us, things we can't even control.
I know, I'll be sitting in traffic and suddenly my blood pressure is through the roof. Like, why am I letting this get to me?
And it's like automatic. Before you even know it, you're already stressed out. The book talks about how these stress reactions become so ingrained we don't even realize it's happening.
You're totally right. It's like, boom, instant irritation.
Exactly. And that's where let them can be so helpful. Let's say you're stuck in that line that's going nowhere. You consciously say, let them take their time, let the line be long. It sends a signal to your brain. This isn't a real threat, stand down.
Let them is like a reset button for your nervous system.
Totally. It's like telling your amygdala, that little alarm system in your brain, to chill out.
I like that. It's like, false alarm, everyone relax.
Exactly. And then let me comes in. This part's about creating space between that trigger and your usual reaction. Take a breath and choose a different response. There's even research on how deep breathing can calm your brain down by stimulating the vagus nerve.
It's about breaking that automatic stress cycle. Do you have an example from the book of how this works in real life?
The author talks about being on a plane next to someone who's coughing nonstop. Now, she can't control that, right? That's let them. But she can control how she reacts to it. That's let me.
Instead of getting all worked up about something she can't change.
Exactly. She chooses to focus on what she can do. Maybe she puts on her noise-canceling headphones, focuses on her book. The point is, she doesn't let that external thing steal her peace.
I love that. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about careers. The book talks about this frustrating experience of feeling like you're getting strung along for a promotion. That's a major stressor for a lot of people.
Totally. You work hard, you think you deserve that promotion, but it just never seems to happen. It's totally normal to feel frustrated, even resentful. But let them here means accepting that you can't control your boss's decisions or the company's timeline, as hard as that can be.
It's like you feel stuck, like you have no control.
Exactly. But that's where let me kicks in. Instead of stewing in resentment, you shift your focus to what you can do. Update your resume, network, look for other opportunities. Don't get stuck comparing yourself to where you think you should be. Focus on your own progress, your own path.
So it's about taking back control of your career journey.
Yes. The author even says that feeling of being truly stuck, it's often a lie we tell ourselves. You always have options.
You're not a victim of your circumstances. You can make things happen. Love it. Okay, let's talk about something that's a huge source of stress for a lot of us.
Okay.
Other people's opinions and judgments. It's like we spend so much time worrying about what other people think.
It's a constant mental drain. And the truth is, you can't control what other people think, no matter how hard you try. So why even bother? That's the whole point of let them here. You're wasting your time and energy on something that's totally out of your hands.
It's like we're trying to follow this invisible script of what everyone expects from us.
And it's exhausting. The book actually addresses this head on. It says, but what if people think negative things about me? And the answer is, let them. Seriously, your energy is too precious to waste on something you can't control.
It's about prioritizing your own values,
Right.
doing what feels authentic to you. There's this example in the book about trying to plan a weekend, and you have to choose between a friend's birthday and seeing your grandparents. How do you decide?
It's about making choices that align with your own values, not out of fear of disappointing someone. Look, someone's going to be disappointed no matter what you do, so make sure it's not you.
That's a good point. Do what makes you feel good about yourself. Don't let other people dictate your choices. Speaking of other people's opinions, the book also talks about family dynamics. That can be a whole other level of complicated, right?
For sure. Family relationships are unique. There's so much history, so much emotional investment. Family members often feel like they have a right to their opinions because they know what's best for you. The book talks about how big life changes, like changing careers or getting married, can really rock the boat.
Because it disrupts the status quo, right? Like,
Yeah,
they're used to things being a certain way.
exactly. And the book talks about step parenting as a prime example. There's all this grief and baggage from the previous family structure. You have to let them process their feelings, even if it means viewing you with suspicion at first.
That sounds incredibly challenging.
It can be. But understanding that dynamic can help you with the let me part. You can approach the situation with more patience, empathy, and a long-term perspective.
It's about meeting them where they are, emotionally.
Yeah, exactly. And the book has this tool called the frame of reference. It helps you navigate these different viewpoints.
Oh, tell me more about that. I could use some help with that.
The author talks about her own experience with her mom, who wasn't thrilled about her husband at first, but she made an effort to understand where her mom was coming from, her fears about her daughter moving away, and that understanding really helped reduce the conflict.
So it's about trying to see things from their perspective, even if you don't agree with it.
Exactly. The book makes the point that both people in a disagreement can feel completely right based on their own experiences and beliefs. Let them creates the space for those different perspectives to exist without turning into a battle.
That's so important. Okay, let's shift gears to something else that can be super draining. Dealing with other people's emotional reactions.
Oh, yeah. It's like walking on eggshells all the time. You're constantly trying to manage everyone else's moods, avoid setting them off.
It's exhausting.
The book gets real about this. It basically says adults can be just as emotionally immature as kids, and it's not your job to manage their emotions. Trying to please everyone all the time, that's a recipe for burnout.
So true. Things like the silent treatment, guilt trips, those are classic examples of emotional immaturity. It makes you second guess yourself all the time.
Absolutely. The book uses the silent treatment as a prime example. Often it's not even about you, it's about their inability to process their own emotions in a healthy way. The best thing you can do is let them work through it.
Don't take it personally. Their emotional outburst is about them, not you.
Exactly. And the book actually explains the science of emotions. They're just chemical surges in the brain. They fade quickly if you don't feed them with your thoughts and reactions. It's like 90 seconds and they're gone.
So don't engage, don't react, and it will pass.
Right. It also points out that things like hunger, tiredness, stress can make those reactions even stronger. So keep that in mind.
Okay, so next up, something that's a huge struggle in today's world. Comparison. It's impossible to avoid, right? Everyone's life looks perfect online.
Chronic comparison is a trap. The book calls it self-torture. It's a waste of time and energy because you're fixated on things you can't control. The truth is, life isn't fair. Someone's always going to have more, achieve more. Fixating on that is only going to make you miserable.
Self-torture, that's harsh, but so accurate.
Right. The author even shares an example of her daughter comparing herself to her sister and how unhappy it made her. The point is, focus on playing your own game, not on what's in someone else's hand.
Stop comparing. Start living. So what can we do about it?
The book suggests an interesting perspective shift. Instead of seeing others' success as a threat, see it as inspiration, as a roadmap. It shows you what's possible. The author talks about how she was hesitant to be active on social media because of fear of judgment, but seeing other people doing it successfully helped her overcome that fear.
So flip that jealousy into motivation. That's a good strategy.
Totally. There's even this story about a woman named Molly and her neighbor who seemed to have this perfectly designed life.
Oh, I remember that.
And Molly realized that her jealousy was actually pointing to something she wanted but was putting off. That annoying person who seems to have it all together. They can be like a mirror showing you what you need to work on. The author also talks about being jealous of a friend's renovated house, and it helped her realize she wanted to do the same thing to her own place. It sparked her motivation. So the takeaway is let them have their success and let me get to work on my own goals.
I love that. Okay, let's talk about friendship. Friendships can be tricky, especially as we get older.
Totally. The book talks about how friendships change. Sometimes they fade because of distance, different life stages, just changes in energy. It calls it the great scattering. What worked when we were younger doesn't always work in adulthood.
Things change, people move, priorities shift. It's hard. The author actually shares a story about feeling left out of a friend group.
Yeah, and she's really honest about how her initial reaction wasn't great, but it made her look at her own role in the friendship and how it was changing. The book says, let them can help you see who your true friends are. Sometimes you realize you're the only one putting in the effort.
It helps you see things more clearly, even if it's painful. What about making new friends as an adult? That can be so intimidating.
The let me part is key here. It's about taking initiative, being the one to reach out, what the author calls going first. She talks about moving to a new town and having to make an effort to connect with people. Even small gestures can go a long way. The book also says it takes time, give it a year, is the advice.
Don't expect to build a new friend group overnight. Patience is key.
Okay, how does let them work when you're trying to influence someone? Like when you want someone to make different choices?
The book is very clear on this. You can't force someone to change. Change has to come from within. If they're not ready, they're not ready. You have to let them be where they are, even if it's on the couch doing nothing. It's frustrating, but you can't force change on someone. So what's the alternative?
One powerful concept is social contagion. You lead by example. If you want someone to be healthier, you focus on your own health. If you want them to spend less time on their phone, you put your phone away.
Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. And the book also introduces the ABC loop. It's a three-step process for influencing others in a more supportive way. A stands for apologize and ask.
Apologize, even if you haven't done anything wrong.
The apology isn't about admitting fault, it's about acknowledging the tension. And then you ask open-ended questions to understand their perspective. B is for unwire. Back off and observe. Give them space to make their own choices without pressure. And C is for celebrate and continue to model the change.
Celebrate their progress, even if it's small. I like that.
The whole point is to understand where they're coming from, listen to their five whys, and create an environment of support, not judgment.
It's about being a positive influence, not a dictator.
Exactly. Okay, now, what about those really tough situations where someone you care about is struggling and you want to help, but you don't know how?
Like, you want to jump in and fix everything, but you know you can't.
This is hard, but the book says you can't want someone's recovery or well-being more than they do. Trying to rescue them all the time can actually prevent them from finding their own strength.
It's counterintuitive, right? You want to protect the people you love, but sometimes stepping back is the best thing you can do.
It is. The book even quotes this expert, Dr. Walbinger, who says it's important to let people learn from their own mistakes. It also talks about avoidance as a coping mechanism. Like, if your kid's scared to sleep alone and you comfort them every time, you might actually be reinforcing their anxiety. True support is being there for them while letting them face their challenges.
It's a delicate balance.
It is. The book even talks about the tough decision of cutting off financial support for adult children who aren't honoring the agreement. Sometimes let them means letting them face the consequences of their choices, and let me means setting healthy boundaries. There's a difference between rescuing someone and truly supporting them.
It's about empowering them to figure things out for themselves. Okay, let's talk about love. Finding and keeping love can be such a roller coaster.
It can be. The book stresses the importance of let me here, knowing yourself, being yourself, and not settling for less than you deserve. Don't waste your time on people who aren't truly interested.
Don't chase after someone who's not chasing you back.
Right. And remember, you're not on Earth just to be someone's partner. Find someone who helps you become your best self. Saying no to the wrong relationships opens up space for the right one to come along. Here's the simple truth. If someone likes you, you'll know. Confusion is a sign to move on. Let them show you how they truly feel through their actions.
Words are cheap.
Exactly. The book also talks about what makes relationships work long term. Both people have to want it, both have to put in the effort, and your core values and dreams have to align. You can't build a lasting relationship on compromise.
So you're saying don't settle.
Exactly. The book talks about this deal breaker decision. You use the ABC loop to try and work through an issue, but at some point you have to decide, can I live with this, or is this a deal breaker? And if it is, you have to have the courage to walk away.
Tough decisions. And what about heartbreak? How do we deal with that?
Heartbreak is a process. The book recommends no contact with your ex for at least 30 days. Give yourself time and space to grieve, to heal. That's let me in action. It also suggests some practical things you can do to help yourself heal. Limit social media, talk to friends, stay busy, challenge yourself, visualize a positive future.
Those are great tips. Focus on yourself and taking care of yourself. Okay, finally, the book brings it all back to the most important relationship, the one with ourselves.
That's the foundation for everything. Learning to let them be them allows you to let me be me. The book is all about self-compassion, setting boundaries, and pursuing your dreams without needing anyone else's approval.
That's so important. You have to love yourself first.
Exactly. It uses this beautiful analogy of the sky. You can't control the weather, but you can control how you react to it. The same goes for life. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control your response.
It's about choosing your own inner weather.
Yes. The book asks some tough questions. What's it costing you to resist reality? What dreams are you putting on hold? If you're not where you want to be, you have the power to change it.
You have the power. That's the takeaway.
The book ends with this invitation. Step into your let me era. Take action. Create a life you're proud of.
So this deep dive into the let them theory, it's all about shifting our focus. Stop trying to control everyone else and start focusing on yourself. Use let them and let me as tools to navigate relationships, stress, all the challenges life throws at you.
It's about finding peace and empowerment by letting go of what you can't control and taking charge of what you can.
So here's something to think about. Pick one area of your life where you've been trying to control someone or something. What would happen if you redirected that energy? What could you do for yourself instead? What do you really want, and what let me action are you going to take today?
Start with one small step and see where it leads you. It might surprise you.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.